What's up, guys? Good Tuesday evening to you. Hope you guys are having a great week. Calling for snow here again, so it's getting pretty cold.
Got my ski waxed. I mean, I got something waxed. Something I don't know what it was. Skis, snow.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, it's getting cold here in North Carolina again the next couple of days, and everything's closing up, ice and putting salt and brine all over everything.
It looked like it hailed on your sidewalk.
Well, that's salt they put out. That's
Hail,
all the bread, milk, and eggs is gone.
Looked like
everywhere.
crack rock to me.
So, I mean,
yeah, well, didn't have the pipe all lit up.
Well, go get you some. But hope you guys are having a great evening so far. And like I say, the weather's going to be bad. We haven't got any flying in because the weather's been crap. So yeah, hopefully soon though. But appreciate all you guys for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. We've got a great special guest in here tonight that is just really amazing with 3D planes, guys. And so, you know, you guys know me and Wayne do not 3D plane. We have
dude, I got video.
Well, you have 3D to plane, but not on purpose anyway. So, so we're really happy to have Kobe in here tonight, hanging out with us, and we're going to bring him in here and let him school you guys on some 3D stuff. So if you got any questions, you have any interest on how to get started or anything like that, this is the gentleman to ask. And without further ado, we're going to bring him in, and here he is right now. What's up, bud?
Hey, guys.
How you doing, man?
Never better. Never better.
Never better. I hear you, man. That's a good
answer.
Excited
to be here. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Hey, we appreciate you, man. And just so everybody knows, and if you want to drop a link in, feel free. FloRC is Kobe's YouTube channel. A lot of good tutorials on there for you guys if any of you want to get into the 3D thing. So, I mean, how long have you been doing this, man?
Yeah, so I've been doing 3D for, I'd probably say since 2014. So it's been a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
but the big question I have, and then I want you to explain it slowly to our Warbird pilots. How many hours do you have doing what you're doing?
So just
slowly.
I would say just on the sim, I would have around 8,000 to 10,000 hours.
10,000 hours. So imagine what you could do if you get off OnlyFans and you spent 10,000 hours practicing on the sim. You wouldn't be doing all the things, making the mistakes.
Yeah. You see who's interested.
10,000. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and you know, it's definitely a passion at this point. So yeah.
So is that like, would you recommend that would be a good way for somebody to get into this particular style of flying?
If you have no life, no responsibilities, and 10,000 hours to spend, and you want to be a great RC pilot, then yes, I mean, I would recommend it. But if you know you have life in the way, and you have children, and you have responsibilities and bills and all that other kinds of stuff,
I don't have any of those that I know of.
10,000 hours is quite a bit. I know it sounds bad.
Well, no, I mean, because like, you know, we were saying earlier, I mean, you know, young, you have time.
And it beats drugs and alcohol and jail time and really,
court fees
and lawyers. All that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, and really, you look at the hours that I know my son's got on a video game. I mean, he could be a great 3D pilot too at this point, you know, but yeah, he could go into combat with somebody at this point. I don't know, but yeah, can't get him to have an interest in it though. But yeah, that's awesome. So, what is your go-to for your sim?
So I have Real Flight 9.5. It was originally a simulator that was produced by Knife Edge software, or Knife Edge software, and now it got bought out by Horizon Hobby, and Horizon Hobby is doing a lot of cool stuff with it. So I use Real Flight 9.5, but I should upgrade to Real Flight Evolution here pretty soon. But yeah, Horizon bought it out, and they do a bunch of really cool stuff, and they put all their new planes into quarterly content packages. So it's pretty cool.
So my 3.5 doesn't qualify?
Hey, I'm going to be open and honest here. The best Real Flight is Real Flight 5.5, and Real Flight 7.5.
Yeah.
Why?
Those are the best.
Why? Why?
Because it's simple. It worked. And there was, it was a time in the hobby where a lot of people were creating a lot of amazing content for Real Flight. And now there's amazing content as well that comes out every day. But back in the day, I think it was just a real big group effort. And we had some very, very good flying airplanes. The physics was a little bit different. I think it's just the nostalgia at this point, right? You'll say, driving without seatbelts was way cooler than driving with seatbelts. And it might be because of you don't have that strap come across, or maybe it's because it's like, man, I had a hot girlfriend back in the day, and I was a quarterback and all that stuff. So it's a little bit nostalgic, I guess.
Yeah. So, and speaking of Horizon, you are a Horizon team pilot, correct?
Yes, happily. Yes.
Yeah. How long have you been doing that for?
Yeah, so I've been a Horizon team pilot for about 2 years. I actually worked full-time for Horizon as well in 2023 through 2024. So I worked full-time for them, as a W-2 employee, and that was also amazing. So team pilot. Yeah.
What do you do full-time there?
I was a social media specialist. So basically, I was a part of the digital marketing team. I ran RC Nation, which was sort of like an RC groups and stuff like that. So I was in charge of that. And then on the back end of that, of my job there, I was doing the surface brands. So like Low C, Arma, Axial, and I did all of the posting on social media for them.
Cody Adair was a good friend of mine before he left there. That happened right around the time COVID hit.
Yeah, I wasn't there during that time, but
yeah. So basically, you get on the sim. Is that what got you into flying 3D, or what got you there?
Yeah. So originally it was a sim, but it was on my iPad. So when I was young, I always wanted to be a fighter pilot. I have photos of when I was like 3 years old, and my dad got me like a toy F-14 or something like that. I've always been interested in aviation. So I just downloaded a simulator on my iPad called RC Plane, and I just started playing that. And I said, Dad, for Christmas, I want an RC plane. And that's basically what happened. And now we're here. And my dad probably regrets it because I made him spend a lot of money. And then now I'm spending a lot of my money. So, but it's incredibly fulfilling, and I'm very happy that I did it.
So I know for the time I've been flying RC planes, I've been doing it for about 18 years. And just in the time that I've been doing it, the industry has gone from here to here, like in that amount of time, because when I started, you didn't have the option of all the planes you have now, especially the foamies and things like that. I think the first foamy that I had was an E-Flight Apprentice. That's what I learned to fly on. And then I had a Radian, was my next one. And love my Radian. Still have it to this day, and we'll still fly it. Love that plane. But yeah, so we've all seen the market just really go crazy with what's out there today, and especially in the types of planes that you're flying now with the technology and everything that is in these planes.
Yeah. When I started in the hobby, it was kind of when 2.4 gigahertz was, it was basically the standard at that point. I wasn't in the 72 megahertz. It was a little bit before my time. But
what what are you saying?
You're old.
Yeah. So basically nowadays you have, SAFE and AS3X and a lot of amazing things for new pilots, which helps to grow the hobby. Obviously, we have a lot more companies now that are making foam airplanes, over in China. So the cost is a lot lower for us, and it's still very high quality. I think the barrier to entry is a lot lower now, and that's good for growth. I mean, in any industry. And when I was starting out, it was sort of the renaissance for 3D as well, because we went from having big, giant airplanes that were heavy and balsa wood, with slow servos and, just very heavy, not strong at all. And yeah, and nowadays when I was getting into the hobby and basically into 3D, the airplanes started getting a lot lighter. They started rolling a lot faster. They started being more aggressive. We had
more horsepower,
a lot more horsepower with that DA-120 swinging a Falcon 2711. And yeah, so it's very interesting because I came from the kind of the start of 3D with the Extreme Flight 104 Extra, which was revolutionary. Back then, it was incredibly strong. You couldn't break it. And it was incredibly light as well, and it rolled faster than anything else. And nowadays, we have airplanes that you can go full throttle from 1,000 feet for 10 minutes and just full throttle, and then just throw the six to the corner, throw it in a blender, and the airplane will be it'll be a walk in the park for it. So it's definitely interesting to see the technology.
We're trying to catch it from hitting the ground like a lawn dart.
Yeah. So it's definitely interesting to see how airplanes evolved, not only as a whole, but in 3D especially.
Because you started out, in your younger days. I say that lightly. With
younger days, man, what does that make us?
I know we're the old as dirt.
I mean, we're about ready for a dirt nap.
You started out with a UMX, correct? A small plane.
Yeah, I started out with probably one of the most complicated and touchy planes that you can buy. I had a UMX P-51. The guy at the hobby shop did not do my dad any favors by telling him that's probably not a good idea.
He wanted to make a sale.
He wanted to come back and get parts.
Yep, that's basically it. And I started from there, and flew it,
crashed it,
rebuild, fly, crash it, and then you get like 30 seconds in a flight. My dad's like, yeah,
success.
And we're like, oh my gosh! Like it's looking back on it now, it was such a fulfilling time when I finally had like a one successful flight, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is what it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to be smashing in the ground all the time.
Yeah, well, and you learn quick how to use a hot glue gun at the field. You know what I mean? That was one of my favorite things to keep plugged in at the table when I learned how to fly. So, I mean, toot your own horn, man. What are your accolades? Where do you go? What do you do? What are your competitions that you fly in?
Yeah, so I mean, my bread and butter was IMAC, which is International Miniature Aerobatic. So basically what it is it's precision aerobatics. So you see a lot of videos with freestyle and all that stuff, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But precision aerobatics is you get what's called an arrestee. So it's a sheet of paper, and it has 10 maneuvers on it. So let's say the first maneuver is a roll. So you're going to enter the box. You're going to have 3 judges, and you're going to have a caller. The caller's going to say, okay, judges, entering the box. And then you're going to do your roll, and the roll rate has to be the same. The altitude can't change, and a couple of other things. So when you get into the higher classes of IMAC, you'll have, a loop where the radius has to be the same. It needs to be geometrically perfect in the sky. And then you add snap rolls and rolls at the top. So you have to integrate that through the loop. Oh, there we go. Sorry. It buffered for a second. So the snap roll is going to have to move. There we go. The snap roll is going to have to be perfect, integrated into the loop and all that stuff. And then you have different figures, like a Cuban 8 with, a 2 of 8 opposite 3/4 roll, stuff like that. So that's what I flew, and that's what I practiced a lot. And I won 2 national championships in that. I won it in sportsman and intermediate.
What year was that?
That was 2016 and 2017.
That's forever ago.
Yeah, it was.
You have the trophies?
Yeah, I actually have it on my wall.
I knew it. Yeah, I saved all my trophies for the kids after I got married, and then I found out the kids could care less and ran over with their bicycles, so I threw them all away. What's the point? The kids don't know nothing, and they don't care.
Yeah. So afterwards, I won the nationals in 2017. I kind of took a approach of, I don't want to compete anymore really. And I wanted to enjoy the hobby. Because, I was practicing every single day after school, burning a lot of gallons. And when you go out to the field, it's about having fun. It's about doing all this stuff. But
so when did you know? When did you get burned out? Like, when did you get that first feeling? This just sucks now. When was that?
It was after the Nats, because this is a whole story within itself, but I got invited to an IMAC camp at Clover Creek Aerodrome in Tune, Tennessee. And it was owned by basically the father of IMAC, which is John Schroeder, my mentor, rest in peace, and David Mosier, which is one of the, if not the best IMAC pilot in the world. And they would invite about 6 to 10 kids that were doing well in IMAC, and they would invite them out to the farm, and we would fly 30 days, like 6 to 7 flights a day, 30 days before the nationals. And then we would all drive together to the nationals. So it was a camp about flying, but the thing is that it was like 90% life lessons and then 10% flying, which was a big factor in where I am today as a person, because those mentors were incredible. So that's a whole story within itself, but it's a lot of flying, and I would say it's a lot of stress, but it's no longer a
sport.
It's no longer a sport. It's something that
it's a job.
My parents have invested a lot of money in. My sponsors invested, money in me. So it was definitely, after that point, I was like, okay, I kind of want to understand what I want to do, for fun. And then I was in 3D before IMAC. Then everybody was like, if you fly IMAC, your 3D is going to get better. And then I fell in love with IMAC. And then after IMAC, I sold my IMAC planes and I bought a true freestyle plane that I honed in on my freestyle skills.
Which is what type of plane? What do you have?
So that was an Extreme Flight 104 V1.5 basically. So it was the prototype that was given to Jace for the development of the version 2 Extra 300. So I received the prototype. I bought it from Jace, and it was probably one of the best flying planes I've ever flown, just in general. It had the aggressive tumble nature of the V1, and it had the roll rate of the V2. So it was all around just an incredible plane, and I had so much fun with that plane.
So did you build it yourself and put everything in it?
No, I actually bought it from Jace Lucia. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you did say earlier you don't really like to build, right?
I would prefer not to.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. My dad is he has an engineering degree and all that stuff. So
there you go.
When I would fly, he would be he called himself the fixer and the banker. So
yeah.
Yeah. He would call himself the NVPB, and if you want me to put that together, I can. But most valuable pit bitch is basically what
there you go.
is what he called himself. So I didn't really like building. It was very tedious and all that stuff. I just like to put all of my energy into the simulator and getting my flying skills better. Now I kind of regret it because I go to the field and all of my friends are fixing up their airplanes and all this and that, and I don't really understand what's going on. But I'm trying to get better at it.
Well, basically, what you're saying is exactly what you're saying is like NASCAR today. Like the drivers don't know nothing about anything. I mean, they don't come up from working on their own cars, fixing it, working with junk, trying to make it faster, trying to make it more reliable. Everybody buys it coming out of the box, which is great. We always dreamed about that back in the day, but I'm an old fart. Okay, I come back from prehistoric times when pterodactyls were running around the plains. Everything came flat in the box. Literally, I don't even know. You remember a hobby shop called Hobby Shack back in the day?
I do not.
Okay, man, this is really depressing. This means I'm from way back before there was lightning and electricity. But everything you literally had to, it came flat in the box and you had to build it. If you wanted a big airplane, you had to buy it and you had to build it. I didn't know anything about building, but it came with plans. You had to figure it out, what goes where, why, how, when, how to sand it, how not to, how to cover it, how to hinge it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the motor mount? Anyway, it's the same thing. But yeah, your generation, they want to hone their skills. And then when their airplane breaks and there's no one around, they go, well, what do I do? Well, you're going to have to fix your own airplane.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I kind of went down that rabbit hole because I also am really big into cars. As you guys can see, I have a Sebring International.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So I am a big car guy as well. So I was like, oh, I want to get into RC drifting.
No, I want to know what you drive. What's your car that you drive?
So I had a Focus ST as my first car, which was a lot of fun. Stick shift, like 300 horsepower hatchback, fun, front wheel drive. And then I went from a Focus ST to a BMW M2 competition.
Okay, before you go any farther, how many tickets with the Focus?
I've been pulled over in the Focus probably about 13 times, but I had about two tickets.
Wow, you must be a good talker.
Yeah, but the thing is if you're respectful and you're good to the cop and you're not doing something ridiculous, they're most likely going to give you a break. So I don't do anything stupid on the road. You know, I might be going a little bit over the speed limit sometimes, but yeah. So I went to an M2 competition. Then I sold my M2 competition. I got an M3 2011 M3 with a V8 that revved to 8,400 RPM. So it screamed. It was an amazing car, hydraulic steering, a complete driver's car. And then after I got engaged and stuff started to go other ways, I sold the M3. And now
we got to get rid of everything.
Now I drive a Hyundai Elantra N.
Okay. See?
No, but it's fun. I mean, it's the same thing. Stick shift, like 300 horsepower. It's actually faster on the racetrack than my M3, which is crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, it's
well, I got caught doing 145.
So you did
145 miles an hour.
Yeah. And he wouldn't have caught me. I didn't even know he was there. And he was getting on the freeway as I was getting off of the freeway, and I didn't see him getting on the on-ramp.
Oh yeah,
that's I mean, the off ramps are going by like choo, 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 choo. So anyway, I come up and all of a sudden I see this policeman behind me on a motorbike, and I said, where did this guy come from? So anyway, he pulls me over. I know it's got nothing to do with airplanes, but everybody speeds every once in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe more than once in a while. But yeah, so he pulls me over and he goes, son. So I just, I was respectful and everything because I knew I was going to jail if I didn't do the right thing, say the right thing. He goes, I just don't know how fast you were going. But if you hadn't got off on that off-ramp right after I got on the freeway, I never would have caught you. I said, I never even saw you. He said, I know, because I wasn't even on the on-ramp yet. I was going, how you can see on the freeway. He saw me, he got on it, no, and I was gone. But anyway, he goes, I'll tell you what. Being that I don't know how fast you were going, and I was going to say the number, but he says, no, don't say the number. I said, okay. He goes, if you promise not to do that again, I'll give you a ticket for 70.
Yeah. Yep, there it is. Then you just bow down.
Because it's the media jail time at 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got lucky.
Anyway, I was grateful.
In Georgia, they sit on top of the overpasses.
Yeah.
So you can't see them at all. And then
they also have cameras that just take your picture and send you a ticket.
They'll chase your ass.
I went to Florida, and on the way there, I passed it, saw something flash, and I looked over to my left, and I see a camera sitting under the underpass. Get home, and 2 weeks later, I get a letter with my picture zoomed right in on my face in the windshield and the license plate on the back of my vehicle, man. Ticket for speeding. I was
how much?
What was I speeding? I was only like 10 over.
How much was the ticket?
Okay.
$250.
Wow.
Yeah.
The thing that I do is I fight all my tickets, every single one. I just got a stop sign ticket the other day. It was like was like 1:30 at night. I'm coming home from Naples on Alligator Alley. There's nobody there, and I've done this drive 100 times. I get off of the off ramp to this place called the Mikasuki, and it's like just one gas station, and there's a stop sign. And I was driving my dad's Tesla, and it has that regenerative braking, and I had shit in the back, so I just kind of like rolled a stop, and then there was a cop like right there, and I've never seen the cop sit there.
You just did.
Never. So I just typed it in the ticket clinic, boom, 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 bang, 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 and the lawyer's gonna go deal with it. And then you fight it. You don't pay it. You fight it because I don't want points on my license. I have a perfect driving record.
Yeah, I didn't get any points for that one in Georgia for some reason. It just said pay it, or if you don't in 90 days, we're coming to get you. So I paid it. But yeah, so back to the airplanes.
Better hope so. This is an airplane show. Like, hey.
This is an airplane show, right?
Yeah. So I mean, again, so what other competition? What other things have you done? I mean, and gotten into? Where have you been? Tell us about the things you've done.
Yeah, so I've done a lot of incredible things in this hobby. I've flown in shows in Canada. I've flown in shows all over the country. I've flown demos at Top Gun, at Joe Knoll, and it's been an incredible experience. I had the luck of being invited to Clover Creek. I've been to the Invitational. I didn't compete in the Invitational, but I've been. And like I said, I've been to countless IMAC events. I've been to freestyle events. I've been to a lot of incredible things, and I've been going to Joe Knoll since 2013, and I haven't missed a year.
So with like the camp you were talking about earlier, that was a lot of life lessons. Did you take some of those lessons, or do you ever help younger people get into the hobby and help them to find this hobby?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I've done a couple of things. So first of all, I kind of fly my foamies, in a park or at a school gym, and a lot of kids kind of go through there or in a college campus. So people come up to me and I'll kind of point them in the right direction. If there's any kids at the field, because we're right next to like a mountain bike trail. So a lot of the mountain bikers will come to watch the RC planes, and a lot of them will have little kids and stuff. And a lot of, guys older than you will be like, don't touch my plane. Don't come around.
Hey,
like, hey,
older than you? Older than me, man.
I'm like, hey, you want to see inside? And I talk to the parents and stuff like that. And I give them a really good kind of baseline of maybe where to start if they're interested in it. Last July, I went to a fundraiser in Kentucky that was for the Children's Hospital, I think. And I flew there, and that's a big show, big show. And I did a lot of MC, so on the microphone, and I would talk to the crowd and kind of give them insight on what's happening in front of them and how to get into this hobby, the amazing opportunities that it gave me. I made it a full-time career at one point, and I met lifelong friends, and I met a lot of amazing people that will be in my life for a very long time, and it's very fulfilling. So.
Well, that's the thing about it, because this hobby does bring a lot of people together, but I could see a lot of the younger generation that we need to try to pull into this hobby actually looking to guys like your age, doing what you do with the 3D planes to get them into it, because everybody wants to fly a jet, but you got to fly certain things before you get there. So kind of like the same thing with 3D, you got to do certain things. Yes, can I help you?
I have a question.
I might have an answer.
Have you ever flown a Warbird?
Yes, I have.
Which one do you like, and what was it?
I like P-51s are cool.
Oh, well, you guys are gonna be bros.
Yeah.
P-51 is cool.
Legend Hobby's coming out with a killer new P-51, man. It's like 91 inches with the very scale, the working cowl that opens up when the motor. Yeah.
Killer. I like the Galloping Ghost.
I have that one.
That's a really, really crazy.
Have you ever been to a Warbird event?
Yeah. There's a warbird event like at my home field, warbird over the glades, and it's awesome. Very cool.
You do like warbirds.
Well, see, Kenny's in here tonight. Kenny could probably swing by on the short bus.
Kenny
and
is
pick him
probably
up.
token in the back seat of his buff when his island right now. He probably got a red ripple. He's all
Kenny, which is Hanger 51 in the chat. Kenny he's down in Florida as well.
He's down in Florida, but he can't be within 100 feet of a school.
Oh my God.
Or dancing midgets.
Yeah.
Oh no, we love Kenny. We give Kenny a hard time, but he said, "Why do you have a sculpture of a Sebring on the wall behind you?"
Yeah, so my dad's been going to the 12 Hours of Sebring since 1998, and I've been going to the 12 Hours of Sebring since I was 4 or 5 years old. I've tracked my car a lot at Sebring. I've coached at Sebring and a lot of other cool stuff. So Sebring is an awesome track, and I bought it from my dad, but he's like, "Where am I going to put this?" And I'm like, "I'll just take it then." I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
So you just didn't want to hurt your feelings. He said, "Take it back. I don't want it."
So you're actually getting into racing, right?
Yeah, so when I got into college and kind of out of RC for a little bit, I went into racing. I worked for Carlin Motorsports, which is an IndyCar team. I was on the pit crew, worked on the car, a bunch of really cool stuff. I'm friends with a lot of professional race car drivers that have driven Formula One, IndyCar, NASCAR Cup Series, basically everything under the sun. So I'm definitely pretty involved in racing, and I do it a lot. So racing is another one of my expensive passions.
Are you actually wanting to eventually race cars in the races?
So racing is one of those things where it's the worst sport ever, just simply because of the politics, and racing is the most expensive thing on this planet. Yeah. I have a lot of very rich friends that went into racing, and they are not rich when they get into racing. So the best way to make $1 million in racing is start with 2 million. So kind of what I told myself is I live vicariously through my friends who race. I go to their races and all that stuff, and I have to deal with all their political bullshit that they tell me. And I said, once I start making adult money and stuff like that, then I'm gonna go and race myself in a gentleman series like Super Trofeo, Ferrari Challenge.
So do you follow Frankie Muniz at all in racing?
No, I don't. Who's that? Oval
That's
Racer?
The kid that played Malcolm in the Middle on TV back in the 90s?
Oh, yeah.
I knew you knew him.
NASCAR guy, yeah.
I know you know. Do you know how he made his money? You know how he invested his money from TV? Get this.
Tell me.
Somebody told him about parking lots in L.A. Buy yourself a place where you park cars and you'll make a bundle. Yeah. And I lived in LA, so I know exactly. They're all dumps. They got a little shack. They take the money. He invested in those parking lot, not parking structures, just the parking lots with the lights and then just a little. Yeah. Sold it for a bundle. Great investment. So anyway, he's into racing, and he's heavily into racing.
Yeah. I think is he racing Xfinity or is he racing Cup Series now?
He's not that high up yet. I think it's still in the lower. Not even ARCA. I don't know.
Not in ARCA. I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. No, one of our fellow pilots that flies with us at our field, Carl, he was talking about questioning pattern and IMAC. And Carl, in case you didn't tune in earlier, Kobe was talking about that with the pattern flying that he had to do at IMAC with the different moves and things like that. What is the hardest to learn, you think, maneuver with a 3D plane you've had to learn in reality, not on the simulator?
So the hardest move that you could possibly do, I'm going to say the 3D world agrees on this, and then I'm going to say what my perspective is. So the hardest maneuver is a rifle roll, which is basically aileron rolls at full throttle and continuing the roll just straight and very low.
Yeah.
So that's probably the hardest move because you have to coordinate rudder, aileron, and elevator as the airplane's rolling over 800 degrees a second. But my personal one coming from my mentor, is a loop. That's the hardest maneuver to do, is a loop. If you ask 9 out of 10 3D pilots, do a loop, they're going to do an oval. They're going to do a hexagon. They're going to do a trapezoid. It's not going to be a loop. But if you really want to get an answer out of me, mine is the rolling loop with one roll opposite one roll all the way around the top.
That's what I expect you to do next time. That's your homework.
That's the
I
hardest.
fly 3D helicopters. I can do it in my own backyard.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
So there's actually a difference between pattern and IMAC, though.
And do tell.
Okay. So IMAC is scale precision aerobatics. So basically, in order to compete in IMAC, you need an airplane other than the basic category. You need an airplane that is within, I think, 10% scale of the real airplane. So like extra 300s, Edge 540s, a bunch of Yak 54s or Sukhois, whatever it is. And then pattern is basically like Formula One. You can take whatever you think is going to fly the straightest and roll the straightest. So they look very interesting, and we call them pattern ships. They're very expensive. They have 2 propellers on the front, and it's called a contra system. So basically, it allows the pilot to not have any adverse torque when they're going through their maneuvers. It's very loud, and I really don't like I don't know, it doesn't sound great, but it's electric, and pattern maneuvers are a lot different than IMAC maneuvers because there's a lot of different things. Because IMAC is based off of real aerobatic airplanes. So if you go to an air show, basically those maneuvers that those big airplanes fly, they bring it to the RC. But for pattern, it's like we have all this thrust to weight ratio. Therefore, we can put in crazy maneuvers that would never be possible in a real life airplane. And I have a really great friend who's a junior world champion in FAI, which is the highest level of pattern. He's been flying that for a very long time. And we tell him that if you want to take all of the fun out of the hobby, you fly pattern.
Huh. Okay. So you say some of these planes have 2 props?
Yeah. It's basically called a contra system. So it's two props that are counter rotating, and it helps with variable speed, and it also helps with the adverse torque that you get. If you're rolling, if like let's say you're hovering, well, it might be even worse on warbirds. If you're hovering, the airplane's going to torque to the left, and we call that a torque roll. But with a contra system, the airplane will literally just stand there.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. So there's going to be no torque.
Wow.
Yeah.
So these planes that you're flying, do you prefer gas or electric?
So basically all freestyle and IMAC planes, they're going to be gas, or like competition level 3D planes, just simply because of the fact of there's a lot of gas. And you can fly a lot longer, and it's a lot cheaper. You don't need to deal with a lot of batteries with gas. But I think anything from 91 inches and down should be electric, because I'm not a big fan of very small gas engines. They're always finicky, and there's always a problem with them. There's always something going on with
Well,
these.
that's because that is female territory.
Yeah, true that.
They're more finicky. It's like blind dating. You ever blind dated? You ever went on a blind date?
No.
Oh, well that's
technically I did. Technically I did, but not like you go to a restaurant and you sit down with a bunch of people. But my soon-to-be wife is technically a blind date.
Gotcha. Well, marriages don't come with instruction booklets and warranties.
Nothing like that.
You're on your own, buddy.
Yeah.
I know. Kind of scary. Kind of a scary thought.
Yeah, that's right. Keep those separate bank accounts.
But I'm excited.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's all good. Well, Well, that's why I say, I mean, you know, like I say, a lot of these guys in here are warbird pilots, and you know but you know, like I said, with Legend Hobby, this is a 3D plane. That is a 3D plane. Can be flown 3D with set up
3D capable plane.
Exactly. There you go. Exactly. And you know, we're gonna fly it like two old men. Okay. I'm sure you could take
Speak for yourself.
I'm sure we were setting up the throws on this plane, and I mean, me and Wayne were looking at it, and the rudders, I mean, the elevator's doing like this, and I'm like, no, I don't think that's right. And I mean, and I kept looking at him. He's like, well, then you better dial it way down. And I'm like, is that high rate? And he's like, yeah, according to the book, that's high. I said, then we need to find low. I mean,
yeah, we need to find the lowest of low.
Yeah, I mean, because it was like this, you know, and I'm going, no.
Yeah,
I mean,
the instruction book, whoever deciphered from Chinese to English, the math system's off somewhere.
Yeah, but he probably
you know how to count over there in beads. You know how to do the bead thing.
Yeah, but he probably does fly with his high rate.
Well, I think the desk, when the guy was counting, the beads were going this way because it was off at an angle.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, his elevators are like this.
I know, but that's how they fly. How far back are you guys on the CG? How far back do you go beyond where you're supposed to be with the CG? You really go way beyond.
So that's actually a big misconception. Is we actually go forward with it. So
really,
so you have a lot of older pilots that like to fly traditional 3D, which is low and slow, hovering, and that's all they do for 25 minutes. They always have the largest gas tank ever created.
So in other words, you mean to tell me you know people that fly 3D that irritate you?
Oh yeah. Well, no,
I never thought I'd hear that from anybody.
No, because there's two different kinds of 3D. So there's 3D and there's XA, which stands for Extreme Aerobatics. So 3D is the original rolling Harriers. It's the Harriers. It's the inverted. It's the hovers. It's the blenders. Whatever.
So is that from the 90s? Is that from the 90s or the early 2000s?
Early 2000s is when that started coming.
So when did the Extreme come in?
So Extreme came in with a guy named, well, there's actually a guy before it. It's on the tip of my tongue. I forgot what his name was. But it was a guy named Daniel Holman, and he was a kid out of Alaska, and he was sponsored by Extreme Flight. And instead of the normal hovering, he took these Extreme Flight planes and would fly at almost full throttle, 4-point rolls on the deck, into crazy pop tops, into rifle rolls, into just the airplane is flying. It's at speed. A lot of snap rolls, a lot of fast snap rolls with not a lot of auto rotation in it. And then Jace Ducia kind of picked that. I wouldn't say picked it up from him, but he really started that entire trend, because throughout the 2010s, Jace Ducia was basically the guy to beat. He was the best pilot in the world. And that's the fast stuff that you see. That's the very in your face, very showy, very loud, very fast stuff, like I said. And that's a lot different than normal 3D is. So nowadays, all you see is people flying XA, which is that very fast version of 3D. And it's come to a point where that's all people know how to fly, and that annoys me. One of a very interesting thing that a very wise man told me is, he said, I was at the field one day, and he's a very well-respected elder in the 3D community. And he told me, he said, I was at the field, and this kid and his dad came, and the kid started flying fast and XA and in your face and all this stuff. And his dad came up to the gentleman and said, oh man, like, you think my son's pretty good, he's doing well, all this stuff. And dad's like, hell yeah, he's doing amazing, but he's going to be fantastic when he learns how to fly. So it's very interesting, because you have kids nowadays that all they grew up on was that in your face, because it's showy and it's awesome, and you're young and you want to show off and all this stuff, right? You have a big ego. But when I grew up, it was all about precision. It was all about making the airplane fly, making everything present nice in the air. and do it and making the airplane do what you want. You want it to be a proactive pilot instead of a reactive pilot. So when I was young, my friends were precision aerobatic pilots along with some of the best freestyle pilots in the world. So they had a extensive background in precision aerobatics that made their freestyle look very pretty, very beautiful, very amazing, very easy to watch. And nowadays, I feel like a lot of the friend groups that are coming up, they don't have the friends in their group that focus on IMAC or focuses on precision aerobatics. So the things that they're doing is incredible. It's like insane level of flying. The level of flying in the past 5 years is insane. The level of flying that has progressed. But what I say from my point of view is that we lost the beautiful, the precision, the making everything look nice and making everything very pretty. Because what kids do nowadays is they go straight from the sim and they go right to the flying field, and they think that airplanes fly in the sim like they do in real life, and it's very different. There's a lot of maneuvers on the simulator that do not present well in real life, but that's kind of all they know. So it's definitely a big dynamic difference between 3D and XA, and kind of how XA has gotten a little out of hand, I think, and that kind of annoys me.
So you think 3D is just going to die off with the age?
No, I think it's only going to grow.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's going to grow just simply because of the fact of there's a lot of, their access to information nowadays is incredible. And what gets a lot of clicks on social media is either a really big B-52 or some guy hovering right in front of you. And the kids see that and they're like, and it's one or the other. It's not, I'm going to fly a timber, I'm going to have fun. It's either let's get sucked into jets and warbirds or let's get into 3D, right? So I think that a lot of the companies nowadays, like Extreme Flight just came under new ownership in the past 2 years. The owner is a very good friend of mine, and he's an incredible entrepreneur, and he's doing a lot of amazing things to make 3D more accessible and easier to get into, along with making planes that not only competition freestyle pilots want to fly, but he also has things like a biplane that looks like a Stearman but is fully 3D capable. You have like a Bushmaster, which is basically a high wing, but it flies incredible and it can do all the crazy stuff that airplanes can do nowadays.
Yeah,
so I think that. Yeah, right. And it's really, really cool. It's like airplanes that are not supposed to do it, and they do it. So it pulls in a lot of people that are kind of on the fence of, I don't really like extras or whatever. It's like, oh, but this thing looks like a Cub, and I could fly it normally if I wanted to by putting down the rates, like Jeff said, and being a pansy. But
there's that. Okay, man, you got to go. See you later.
Pull your dress down.
I know, right?
Pull your
dress down over here.
You've been called out.
I know, right?
For wearing a dress.
Damn, I fly with gyros.
All right, let's take that one.
Oh boy.
What's your favorite brand of power plant that you use?
So my favorite airplanes, are power plants.
Power plant.
I'm a DA guy through and through.
Yeah,
Desert,
but can you work on it?
I have a guy for that.
Yeah, see?
NASCAR.
I got a guy.
Yeah, see?
NASCAR.
I got a guy. I
can
can
pull the best motor I've ever seen right there, man.
I can pull it off and pull the heads off and kind of look at the cylinders and the pistons and be like, oh, this is cool. I can take a carb apart and look at the reeds and be like, those are reeds. Like,
yeah.
I don't, but tuning it, I'm pretty good at, just simply because of the fact that all I've heard for the past 10 years are well running engines. And I've had a lot of amazing pilots that have helped tune my engines, and it's a lot off of sound, so I can hear when an engine is kind of running bad or running.
Oh, he can hear one from down the field and tell. He's like, that engine needs so and so, and I'm going, huh? He's like, they don't have enough of this. They don't have enough. I need to turn.
And I'm deaf.
Yeah, they need to turn that screw in a little bit. And I'm going, okay.
Needs to turn it. eighth of an inch towards the canopy.
Exactly. He can, man. And I mean, and normally he can't get flying in because he's too busy trying to help somebody get a motor.
Everybody knows what's in my toolbox, and everybody knows what's in my parts box, and they're always in my box.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally,
That could be taken a lot of different. That could be taken a lot of different ways.
Well, I see a guy in my toolbox, and I go, "Did you find it?" Oh yeah, I know right where it was. You know, I'm good. They know exactly
it's their toolbox. It's their toolbox now as well.
Yeah, I
well,
mean, it's,
you know, I'll admit, you know, when I got into this 18 years ago, I got into it electric, and then I got into the EDFs and flying those, and I love to fly jets too. But until the past 3 years maybe, he's gotten me into the gas, and I was afraid of it. And I flew my first gas plane last year, and it was like, I love it. I love the sound of it. I love to hear it. You know,
because electric is everything. Electric's great, instantaneous power, efficiency, But here's what you hear. It's like a listening to a neuter.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Did that thing go by?
I agree with you.
Yeah. And then when you go by with a big DA, you know, the 200cc, whatever, 4-cylinder, the 222 of the DLE, especially a Moki, a big 400cc.
Yeah, big Moki.
I mean, everybody stops and goes,
that sounds good.
I mean, you can be the best pilot in the world with electric coaxial, and you're doing everything perfect, and everybody's going, "Oh, how's your hot dog? Oh, great. How's your signal?" And you show up with a Moki, everybody's on the line.
Yeah, everybody's like, "What's that sound?" Yeah. So I mean, but he's teaching me a lot about it, and I'm learning to listen more at the field and listen to what he's saying when it comes to the gas stuff and how to set it up and how to make it run right and run clean or run rich or, you know, this or that. I mean, and it is intimidating if you haven't ever done it, you know?
It is.
So.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you with the gas thing. But usually when you get into gas, you get into bigger. And the bigger the airplane is, the better it flies, right?
Exactly.
So
it doesn't fly like a UMX.
No
gyro. And no
exactly. And it's easier to see.
Yeah,
I mean that doesn't really affect me at this point in my life, but I'm sure down the line it's going to affect me.
Well, so I mean, when you do a competition, what time limit do you have? I mean, how many maneuvers in that time limit do you have?
Yeah, so basically an IMAX sequence is as fast as you want or as slow as you want. There's no really time limit. The time limit's the gas or the battery. So usually you fly 2 sequences in 1 flight. So like I said, you have 3 judges behind you, and you have your caller who's calling the maneuvers out so you can hear them. And there's a very specific way that good callers talk. The caller is almost as important as the pilot, actually, especially when you're getting into very complicated sequences. And what we call an unknown sequence. So what's really interesting about IMAC is that the contests are usually Saturday, Sunday. So you fly Saturday, and then Saturday evening, when everybody's kind of taking their planes apart, whatever it is, they'll hand you an unknown sequence that you've never seen before. And then they say, you can't fly it, you cannot fly it until the minute that you're judged. So you never get to fly this sequence until you fly it and it's judged. Wow. So you have to go home with the stick plane and you have to basically study this sequence. I've studied unknown sequences for a long time at night. Yeah. hours, right after a long day of flying. And you take your stick plane and not only is it within the kind of XY axis, it's also within the XYZ axis. So you have cross-box maneuvers as well. So when you have rolls, those rolls or those snap rolls are going to be directional, or those spins are going to be directional, so that you can end up going the right way, whether it's inbound or outbound, just kind of depending on where you are in the sequence. So you have to write those down on a sheet of paper. Right 2 of 8, left 3/4 roll. Like all that kind of different stuff. So that's the very interesting part. And then you have your caller that you practice with at night, and he kind of speaks, I'm not going to say like an auctioneer, but if you ever heard an auctioneer, it's like, I don't even understand what's going on. It's very similar in the way of you wouldn't understand what's going on. if you weren't in the IMAC or
Yeah.
in the precision aerobatics community, you wouldn't understand what they're really saying. Because
So would you say that IMAC is a special breed of people that want to be there, just like the glider guys? They are a special breed that want to be there, like the F5B guys that race 200 miles an hour. They want to be there. So we always say, or I should say, I've always said, and he picked up on it, the hobby you don't choose the hobby chooses you.
yeah.
Because you know who's going to stick. Because I had to leave for 20-some years, 25 years. There wasn't even no Spectrum around when I came back. I go, what the heck is a Spectrum? Oh, you don't know what a Spectrum is? I didn't know. I had to raise a family. I was broke, didn't have any money to buy anything. And I come back and there's Spectrum. Well, it used to be JR. It used to be Fatah. It used to be this, that, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So it picks you. You don't pick it. Because it won't leave. It's a disgusting habit, but at least it's legal.
Yeah. It's a disease. Yeah, it is legal. It's not like drugs or alcohol. And also, when you spend all your money, like you said, you have no more money for drugs and alcohol. Right. So it is a good thing.
My dad I was in the family business for 16 years, and he'd always, if I'm late or I'm not where I'm supposed to be, he'd go, "Where the heck are you? Are you at the hobby shop again?" Yep.
Yeah. Spending your paycheck.
I mean, I wasn't at the full position at the strip club. I was at the hobby shop. I was looking at a broke engine, and I wanted it.
Well, that's one thing, that I tell a lot of people about this hobby too, is that you don't need a drug in this hobby, whether you fly, warbirds, jets, 3D, whatever. You get every adrenaline rush, emotion, stress, happiness, thrilling. I mean, it's everything. It's everything all in one. And I mean, and when you maiden a plane, I don't care what it is for the first time, it is the biggest rush in the world.
You have a lump of coal, and then you end up with a diamond.
Exactly.
Because it's so tense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, so it's the best drug ever. I mean,
and it's legal. That's the best part.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I try to explain it to people. And kind of like, I'm sure his wife, my wife, all the wives out there. Well, why do you need another airplane? Well, because they all fly different.
Why do you need another pedicure?
Exactly.
Why do you need another hair color?
There we go.
Exactly. That's right. So so I mean, it's the best hobby I've ever been in, and no matter what you fly, the people in the hobby are generous, kind, awesome people that typically you enjoy being around and hanging out, whether you're flying or spectating or working on something. Everybody's willing to help. Everybody's just happy to be there and to be away from the wife, I guess you could say. And
I ain't saying that.
Yeah. You haven't on air, but okay. But yeah, I mean, it's just a great all around hobby, man.
Well, she goes, would you like me to come with you to the field today?
I think you'll be bored. It's gonna be hot outside.
Here's $50. Go do whatever you got to do and enjoy the day. I'm gonna go where I'm gonna enjoy the day. Let's not mess this up.
Yeah.
Now, if you really want to come and you really want to learn and you really want to enjoy like I do, that's different. But just to come to say I support you, I don't need that. I need you over there spending $50 over there, so I can be over here in therapy with everybody else that has wives.
Yeah.
This is our therapy group.
It's therapy,
right?
Man.
This is our therapy group. Yeah, it's like whenever I go to events or whatever it is, we always say it's a social event, and there just happens to be flying.
That's exactly what it
is. The people in this hobby are truly incredible. I love all my friends that I've made. And all the people who have helped me throughout basically everything, whether it's flying, whether it's fixing something, or it's a life lesson that I can take from me crashing and me being upset. So it's an amazing hobby that I recommend everybody get into that has a passion for aviation, because it's a lot cheaper than full scale, and you get to keep your feet on the ground. So
yeah, that's right, because every time you see a thing on the news about people landing upside down and everybody's still strapped in their seats and is alive after whatever that landing or whatever the problem was, I get to view that from the air, and I crash, and then I go have a steak sandwich, and I wonder, wow, I wonder what went wrong. And I'm not strapped into something upside down.
Right.
Nope.
I can do another day.
Yep. Live to die another day.
Okay, I got one more question. How did you meet Jay?
Oh boy, yeah. So it was this is a funny story, actually. We have to clip this and send it to him. So Jay, I follow Jay on social media, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And
yeah, he's got like 750,000 people now on his subs.
He has 1.4 million on TikTok, and then he has like 800,000 on YouTube.
Yeah.
He's really sending this hobby into another dimension and really getting a lot of amazing eyes.
He's grabbing the younger generation because it's interesting. He makes nice little quick videos,
Yeah.
And he's honest, and he'll tell you, I really don't know what I'm doing. I crash a lot, but hey, this is a lot of fun.
Exactly.
And you know, that's a generation that doesn't know anything about fixing anything or anything about building anything. And they go, oh yeah, that looks like fun. And they buy into it, which is great.
Yeah. So anyway, so I was at Joe Knoll. And as you've seen in Jay's videos, he doesn't really show his face all that much, or he used to not. So I was at the Hobby King tent because one of the guys wanted me to fly the new Tucson. And so I went over there, and here's this Long Island New Yorker. Hey, and he's trying to talk to me. And at Joe Knoll, I would say that I'm pretty busy. I have a lot of different things going on. So I definitely like to talk to people. If I don't know them, then I'll try to get a grasp on what they're trying to converse with me about. And then I'll oh yeah, great. Okay. So Jay was one of these people, and I had no idea why he was talking to me. And he had a bunch of cameras and stuff, and they flew the Tucson while I was flying the Tucson. And he's talking to me, whatever, and nothing clicked. Nothing was clicking. And I go home from Joe Knoll, and I start looking, and I see his face in one of the videos, and I'm like, holy shit. How did I not put two and two together?
Because you were working, man. You were working.
Exactly. So we had an event called RC Fest at Champaign, Illinois, where Horizon's home field is. And it's called RC Fest. It's amazing. There's like thousands of people that come out. They have tri-me's for basically everything. They have Aero Scouts out there that you could fly. They have crawler tracks. They have racing. They have rocket, like everything that you could think of. And then I was flying in the show there. I drove from Florida with my big airplane in the back of a minivan. I drove up there, and Saturday I'm kind of walking, kind of trying to do my thing, and I see this New Yorker, and man, we immediately hit it off. We start going back and forth, and our personalities align really well, and it kind of just went from there. Good people find good people, and he's a great person at heart, and he wants to help and all this stuff. So I was trying my best to help him. Because everybody was kind of busy and he couldn't really get a hold of anybody. So I was trying to introduce him to people and stuff like that. So yeah, it was incredible. And we just kind of kindled our friendship from there. And I call him every single day. We were on FaceTime for about an hour talking about absolutely nothing. Basically just arguing and doing what we do and bickering and having a good time.
I kind of met him the same way. I was at a bomber field in Texas. Yeah, and they make a big pizza there every year, like 10 foot, 9 foot, whatever it is, on a trailer. So I'm over there talking to the pizza guy. I've never been there before. I'm talking to the pizza guy. He's right by the entrance. So I'm sitting there talking to the pizza guy. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this guy coming up the road. And I can just tell when he's just like zeroed in. He's like lasered in on me. I'm going, what's wrong with this guy? I can see him coming straight at me, beeline. I go, man, am I going to have to punch this guy? What's the deal here? I mean, is he a rapist? What is what is this guy? Anyway, it was Jay. Okay. And he recognized my face from somewhere.
In the show.
Was it the show? Then anyway, I'm the first one he recognized. He's never been to that event. I've never been to that event, but I knew a lot of people that were there, but I didn't know him personally. That's the first time so as soon as I went like this and I gave him my both eyeballs, got a stereo view, I recognized who it was. He had a smile on his face and he's got his hand out, getting ready to come out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going, I know the face, and I know his first name's Jay. And now he's got a huge channel. Hey, Jay. And then I turned around and he met everybody, and he was flying everybody's airplane. I go, man.
There we go. I let him fly my competition freestyle plane, and that was pretty nerve wracking. But like I said, I get joy from letting people that don't have the opportunity to fly
because
that
you're vicariously involved.
Yeah, that high caliber of airplane. I love letting, if anybody comes to the field and they can fly to some extent, I will let them fly my $8,000 airplane. Like, because I love
it again. What's the address?
It's I fly it, actually, I think it's one of the biggest clubs in the United States. It's
I always see that I see that on ramp or off ramp or the freeway in the back on the side, on the right hand side of your field.
No, that's Markham. That's Markham.
That's right.
That's a little bit of crazy town down there.
Yeah, is that what that is?
I fly a little bit north. I fly at Palm Beach. That's a little bit more civilized. Yeah, so it's great. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of members. But yeah, Jay and I have a young friendship, but a very tight one. He's coming to my wedding and all that great stuff. So
he said he's going to try to get down to North Carolina and hang out with us sometime at our one of our events, because we have 2 big events a year.
Good luck. Good luck.
And I told him, I said, yeah, we'll wait to be cooking chicken when we see you. And isn't that Jay? Yeah, right.
He's a homebody. I've been trying to. I said, Jay, you got to go to Joan All for more than 3 days. I will personally take you to all the coolest people and all the coolest planes, and I will get you everything that you need, and then you can come party with us at night.
Yeah, and there you go.
He's like, I'm gonna be down there for a day, and then I'm gonna fly back. I'm gonna sleep in a hotel. I'm like, Jay, you can't do that. I'm like, Jay, you can't do that. You can't do that, man. You gotta come for a couple days, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a social media I gotta do. I'm walking here.
Yeah, I gotta do. Come on.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
Well, look, man, we're gonna let these guys get out of here as our time's running out. But we so appreciate you being here. We can keep doing this forever, man. Because
absolutely.
We love hanging out. But let me. I'm gonna let you go back to the room, and we'll be right back there as soon as we get off here with the guys. And but we just appreciate you being here, and we definitely would love to have you on again at some point. And we need to get you and Jay on here. We need to have this.
I tried.
Yeah.
He goes to sleep at like 8 o'clock. This guy.
Oh God.
Oh my God. This guy.
Lord.
Watch me fly this Airwolf.
Yeah, and then it explodes. It's the greatest thing ever.
Well, look, man. I'll be right back. So hang out for a minute, and we will come right back with you. But thank you so much for being on here tonight. And I'm going to let you guys go and tell them good night. So we appreciate you. And guys, if you have not seen the channel, check them out at FloRC on YouTube. And I'll be right back, man. Hang out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. Well, that's another wrap up of another round of Flight Club. We had a great time. Yeah, 3D, man, all the way. Like I said, we got several guys at our field that do it. Well, we got many guys. The whole end of the field.
Oh, there's a lot. And you notice they all travel in a gang.
They do. Yeah, they got their own gang.
They're like wolves.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't like one will show up once in a while. But I mean, most of the time, hey man, where are you gonna be?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll meet you over. Yeah. And you can see 5, 6, 7 trailers. Yeah. And they're all parked next to each other, which I don't have a problem with.
Yeah. And then you got
everybody hangs out. It's birds of a feather flock together. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Nobody comes over and parks next to me.
Well,
not unless they need something.
I try, Unless
you need something.
Yeah, true that. Anyway, but guys, we appreciate you, and we will see you right back here next week, same time, 8:30. And again, special thanks to Kobe for being here tonight, guys, and thank all of you for being here tonight and hanging out with us. That's what the hobby's all about, guys. You're always bringing new stuff to the table over here. All right, we'll see you guys later. Have a good week, and we are out of here. Stay safe, get some flying in, and I guess stay warm. Thanks for